Welcome back, everyone. Today, I want to do a little money talk and talk about comparison syndrome. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I don't know if you all watch Bravo's Married to Medicine. If you do that, it's my show. And right now, during this time period, they are filming. Well, they're not filming the reunion, but the reunion is running. And when I was watching the first installment of the reunion, there's this big question. There is a person on the show. She goes by Miss Quad, and I think that's what you can find her under on Instagram. I'll put her name below. But she bought this beautiful home, a beautiful, expensive home. And when I was watching the episodes, the commentary from the episodes were killing me. Like, people couldn't understand how she bought this home. Like, how does she buy this home as a single person? And it was bothering me. But then, of course, it came up in the reunion because that's what happens. And the thought processes of people who do well for themselves, but couldn't figure out why or how she did it, I just thought that was quite interesting. And they do well. Like, all of those ladies on the show are successful in their own right, make good money in their own right. But I know that, you know, we as human beings, we have a natural inclination to compare ourselves to others. And it happens a lot when it comes to money. Like, if we see someone, buying a house before we're able to, if we see someone like either paying off debt or buying a certain type of car or even taking trips, like, we tend to compare that person to ourselves. And the funny thing is, we shouldn't, because we are not the same. So I kind of want to talk about that and get into that, because a lot of times, like, even though it may be hard to do, we really should not be comparing someone else's finances and their financial journey to your own. So the first thing that you really got to think about, and really, even if you just find yourself doing this, is realize that you and that person, even though it may feel like you all have the same lifestyle, you don't. You don't. Whatever responsibilities you have are not the same responsibilities that person have, and whatever your situation is not the same as that person's situation. So going back to what sparked this video in the first place, Miss Quad, like, the first thing I thought of when I heard the comments, like, as a single woman, I don't know how she bought this house, blah, 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 blah. Miss Quad don't have any kids. First of all, like, not having kids, people don't realize, like, I have kids. I understand. Kids are expensive. And I remember when they came out and said, like, it costs like $250,000 to raise a kid. And back then when that came out, I want to say that came out in the early, like, maybe like 2010, 2013, 2014 or something like that. I'll see if I can find an article on it and link it. But when that came out, I was like, ain't no way. It costs more than that. That's a basic kid. That's a basic kid that you don't pay for lunch. You don't buy, like, name brand stuff for, things like that, because I knew how much I had been spending on my kid, and he didn't even have everything, but he still had nice things. So I was like, that's just a basic kit. And I think it came out again, like, they did an update, and I want to say they're saying 350. I'll link whatever the amount they're saying, and I still say that's for a basic kit, because I know how much I paid to have my kid go through life. And actually, I shouldn't even say I paid, how much I invested in my kid. So a lot of people don't realize, like, when you don't have to pay for things like daycare and clothes for a whole nother human being, food and extracurricular activities, and let's not even go into if they needed tutors or private school or things like that, you have a lot of money left over when you do not have to pay for those type of things. So in the case of the show, Miss Quad, she doesn't have any children, so she don't have to worry about those type of expenses. Also, allegedly, because I'm gonna say alleged, because I'm not trying to be like some of these other people out here. Allegedly, when she was married, because she was previously married, she did not have to pay any household bills. Her husband paid for everything. And matter of fact, I actually have a friend who's in a similar position, but she's not married, but she stays with her parents. She doesn't have to pay any household bills. When you don't have to pay any household bills and you make a good income, think about how much money you could save or invest and do, what you want with it. Just really think about it. Really think about it. Like, I literally just put up a budget video. If you just look at just my bills line alone, my bills line is my most expensive thing that I pay for every single month. So if I could just keep that money, I could do a lot with that money. Okay, so this is why you shouldn't compare your situation to somebody else's, because it's not the same. We're not in that position, and I'm excited for her to be in that position. You should really be rooting for the person who's able to do what they want or achieve their goals, because who really cares about how they did? I don't really care how you did anything. I really don't care how you spend your money, really. Now, if you're complaining about your money, then I am here to help you. But I am not going to see you spending all of your money and you're fine with it and say, oh, girl, you should save money for a rainy day. How do I know you're not? Everybody doesn't tell you everything. So how do I know you're not? The next thing I like to mention is that sometimes we think that people have all this money and they may be getting help from their family members. And there's nothing wrong with that. I definitely had friends when I was younger who were getting some type of assistance from their family member when it came to making larger purchases like homes and cars and things like that. And I'm not mad at them. I wish I had that type of assistance too. Sometimes we look at people and we assume like, oh, they have all this money, where the real situation was that maybe their family had continuously saved money for them, and because they didn't have to use that money, they gave it to them to help them purchase other items. So sometimes people are getting help, but you think that you all are the same. And again, you're not. Also, you have to think that some people have different financial plans than you do. Some people actually plan for the things that they want to do. I have a friend who literally was saving for the down payment on their home from the first job that they got out of college. They were saving for years, every single month. But see, nobody else sees that. Nobody sees the sacrifices that they were taking, because you think, oh, they're spending all their money too, just like maybe I'm spending all my money or something like that. But no, they were actually saving their money the whole time, but we just assume that they're doing the same things we're doing. Even when we're looking at our coworkers, right? Sometimes people assume that you and your coworkers make the same amount of money, and you may not, because some people may negotiate and some may not. Make sure y'all are negotiating. They're not offering the top level. Okay, make sure y'all negotiate. But maybe that's not the case. Like maybe that person has some type of experience from, maybe it was doing internships in college. Maybe they were bold enough to ask for more and they were able to get more. So guess what? Y'all might not be in the same place making the same salary. And we know about the salary disparity, so I'm not even going to talk about that piece. So don't assume just because you can't do something or you have not prioritized your financial goals that they have not prioritized theirs, because they may have a plan that they are working and you are kind of just letting your money tell you how to spend it. Another thing I like to mention is when you do see that people are doing certain things with their money, like especially like in the with Instagram and stuff, you see people are doing great. Like they got on the latest and greatest. They're taking these trips. People are paying off debt. They're doing all these great things. And it may make you feel bad in a way, but it shouldn't, right? Nobody is better than another person. That person prioritized whatever goals that they have for their life and they worked their plan. So if you want to be in a certain position and you're wondering how they got there, like ask them how they got there. Or if you feel uncomfortable, because some people, they feel uncomfortable about asking people how they, achieve their goals, maybe check out some YouTube videos, check out some articles, figure out a way to create a plan for yourself so that you are able to be in that position yourself. There's no reason to look at other people and really compare and say, oh, well, why are they there and I'm not there? Clearly, they did something different than you did. Now, do you have to do the same thing they did? No. You have to work the plan that's going to work for your situation. Like going back to reference to, Married to Medicine. Miss Quad, like I mentioned, she doesn't have any children, so she's able to do what she did. Someone else may have kids, so maybe it's not that you're saving as much as she did, but you're saving. Maybe it's that you don't even want a house as big as she did, but you do want a house, so you're putting towards it. And that's the thing. That's a whole nother point that I'm going to go into. You need to make sure that you are working a plan that helps you achieve your goals, because your goals and someone else's are not the same. I have friends out there, they're doing it up and I love it. I am so excited for them. But guess what? I don't want the same things as they do. So even if I feel like I'm I'm not where I want to be, I have to realize like my goals and their goals, they're not the same. And then also I have a whole bunch of other things that affect my goals that I have to work at, make sure those things are taken care of. And that actually makes me feel good to see those things are taken care of over some of the other things that I still want to work towards. It just gives me the motivation to work a little bit harder to get to where I want to be. And so that's the same thing you should be doing. When you see someone that's doing something that you want to do, then you have to put in that work to get to where you need to be. And I know like these days it looks like, everybody's just getting it like this, but y'all don't fall into that Instagram trap or whatever social media, TikTok, whatever you are on. That's not how it's going. People are putting in work. Even when you see someone has a fast come up, because I know, like just referencing TikTok, there's been a lot of people who has been able to do well on TikTok, and I think it's just so dope. But they still put in work and they did their videos. They still have to put in work and keep it going so they can stay relevant. It's not like they're chilling. It's not like they made it and they're like, oh, I get to stop today. That's not how it works. So you just really have to make sure that you work your plan and continue to tweak and do the things you need so that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve, not what you see they're doing. Because let's believe, I'd love to take a trip every few months or every month or whatever. But is that going to help me get to where I want to be financially? No. Am I going to travel? Yes. But am I going to travel as often? No, because there's goals that I want for myself, and I also don't want to be working forever. So there's certain things that I have to do to put myself in that position to get there. So even though comparison syndrome, is hard, I will say it is hard. Like sometimes you catch yourself like, dang, I'm not doing this, or dang, I'm not here, or dang, they got this opportunity and I want that opportunity. Remember, you still continue working towards your goal because your time is coming. Your time might not be their time. And also you don't know on the back end what that person is going through. So really just stay focused on yourself. If you see they're doing well, cheer for them, root for them, because you should. But then say, dang, I got to get to work. They're doing good things. Let me get to work. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts on the comparison syndrome and like comparing yourself to other people. Do you feel that you do it a lot, or how do you pull yourself out of it so that you are not getting caught up kind of in that deep hole of comparing yourself and putting yourself down because you're not where you want to be? And if you're looking for a way to get yourself out of debt and not continuously going through the cycle, then check out this series right here where I take you through all the steps for you to get out of debt so that you can pay it down and actually live the life you want to live.